Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Glass City Podcast here at CMB Production Studios with me, your host, Cowboy Mark. And we've got ourselves an exceptional guest today. We have Mr. Steve Long, who doesn't know how to sleep or eat or anything else because he's constantly doing some kind of project with music in general, and then he works on top of it. Good afternoon, Steve. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm trying to figure out how not to do the work part, though.
I think we're all trying to do that at some point here. Maybe someday this might become work for me, but I don't see myself on air 5 nights a week, so we'll just leave it at a couple of days during the week. And I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today's live broadcast. That's right, it's live, so you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to be said. It's not scripted. We are just here to talk. We're here to talk about music and almost anything but politics. We try to stay out of that because we get a lot of
can of worms sometimes.
It is. But here we are. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and things like that, your background, maybe a little bit, and how you got into music. And
always been into music. My family, it was like the old school thing where we'd all gather at my grandmother's house for dinners, and back when I was just a kid, and my uncles would all bring guitars. And after dinner was served, my grandmother also played piano in the church, but she had a piano at the house, and then everybody would gather around the piano and sing gospel songs and whatever country music and stuff like that.
The good old stuff, the things that we like to listen to.
We did that for a long time, and then when I finally got old enough to learn, 3 chords, I felt like a big shot sitting in with them, and never really sang back then, but that was the beginning of it.
So music was a part of your life from early on in either listening or playing and hanging out with the family, which is really cool because I think the best musicians, that's how they start. Even though I have met a few that didn't start till later in their life that are phenomenal.
I never started playing like in bands till later in life, just because of personal situation. I wasn't available to me.
Right.
So I actually started playing out in my late 30s, early 40s when I finally got a good band together and we started working.
He's not as old as he's trying to claim to be, ladies and gentlemen. He's saying 30s and 40s. That was just a few years ago. We'll just leave it at that. Now, besides the music and work, through knowing you through the years that I've known you, you were also quite the speed demon in earlier.
Well, and I will say that my grandkids have got the speed bug too because they're racing what's called junior dragsters at the drag strip. And my son-in-law, he still drag races motorcycles, and then the grandkids' other grandfather is still racing motorcycles. I gave up racing the motorcycles because the music thing started taking over.
That started taking over.
Well, plus the wife was starting to complain, you're getting too old to do whatever. But the music came along, and that kind of replaced it for me.
And so you get your thrill in a different way. Instead of the speed, it's the fast pace of the music.
I got my Harleys, though, so I've still got the 2-wheel fever.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe someday I'll be able to join you as we move along in life. I already told the wife by the time I'm 50, I'm going to have a bike. That is my 50th birthday for me, and I'm getting a bike.
Well, riding a motorcycle is kind of like playing music, man. That whole freedom and feeling good by yourself.
Right. So back to the music side of things. Streetwize.
Yep.
When did that form? How did it come about? What was the...
It was weird how it started. We had... actually, it was just after I met Jody, my wife, and this has been, 18 years or so ago. My neighbor was playing in a garage band. He had a little thing going, and he knew that I sang a little bit, so he goes, you want to come and give it a shot? And I said, well. So we hung out in the garage there for a little while, and kind of fun, because believe me, when we first started doing the music in the garage, never ever thought we were going to be playing out anywhere. This was strictly annoy the neighbors band music, and we did that for a long time. And then my lead guitar player, John Haas, I met him through doing work for the company that he was working for, and I realized he was a guitar player, and it was funny because he had mentioned to me that he had a guitar that he wanted to sell, and I asked him what it was, and he said he had put together a Stratocaster out of parts.
Oh, wow.
So I might be interested in that. So I had him come over to when we had band practice, and he brought it over, so I said, well, plug it in, let me see what it does. And It was just like Jimi Hendrix walked into the garage. I said, "My God, man, what are you doing? Want
Right.
to be in the band?"
Right,
And,
right.
so I kind of talked him into coming over and just playing with us a little bit because he had given up music a long time ago. He's a big 80s guy.
Right,
You know,
right.
long hair, the spandex stuff. I can still make fun of him about. But things were getting better and better as we were going, and we had got one opportunity to play out, which we were very leery of even doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy had called me and said that they had a bike night and the band didn't show up.
Oh boy.
And I knew the bar guy, the bar owner, and he told me, he goes, "I know you got a band." He goes, "I need a band tonight." And I just looked at him with a blank stare and said, "Look, we're a garage band.
Right.
You know, we don't play out." So he talked us into it. I asked the guys, I said, "Would you guys be interested in playing for a few hours over there?" So they were as surprised as I was. And this was the night that we were practicing. So, you know, we didn't even have a way of hauling equipment.
Right.
We threw everything in the back of my open pickup truck, and we went over and we played. And, you know, I was a nervous wreck, you know, but the people that were there had a pretty good crowd in there. They didn't even realize we were just a garage band, and we went over real well. And
That's
from
always
that
a
moment
plus,
on,
yeah.
the bar owner offered me Wednesday night bike nights for the rest of that summer because
Oh,
I
wow.
had helped him out. And that was like our foot in the door getting in.
Right.
And then with the help of my wife, I'm not so good at doing bookings because I don't talk to bar owners real well. So she took over, you know, with the secretary skills and whatever.
Right.
Next thing I know, we started playing out. And it was a little tough getting our foot in the door in a lot of places.
You know, I've noticed that.
I love
and-
Toledo, but it's a little tough if you're unknown to get a shot at anything. But once we finally started getting in, we didn't have to make as many phone calls for the year
Right.
to book shows. We have people calling us back now.
See, and that's always a nice thing. But again, like you were saying, getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of places because they are there to make money. Don't get me
Well,
wrong.
if you're a good band, getting your foot in the door is the way to go.
Right.
You know, sometimes you have to prove who you are, do whatever, and
Yeah.
you do what you got to do to get in there a little bit. But I will say that once we're in the door in Toledo, once they hear you, they do remember you and
Right.
they'll call you back. So
Well, and again, in a show like this is what we're doing, and and the reason I started it was to get unknowns known. I've got some acts that are
well,
coming
this
in.
is a great venue, the only one I've
Yeah.
ever known of in Toledo, to where we can at least get some conversation going.
Yep.
Maybe open some doors for
And
other
that's-
bands and what you know.
I myself, being a veteran of music and playing, I know what it's like to knock
Yeah.
on every bar door, every club,
Yeah, it
talking
gets,
to owners,
it gets
talking to
frustrating
managers,
sometimes.
and
And I understand their point because
Oh,
they
yeah.
probably get a lot of people calling. And,
Yes.
you got to hear me. You got to hear me. And I understand that, but
Yep.
I don't know how to break that cycle. But eventually, you know, if you can get that one foot in the door,
And
you
that's
know.
all it takes.
So-
And we do have one venue, which I'm going to go ahead and say Papa's Tavern.
Yep.
Tim has been phenomenal
Yep.
with inviting new talent.
He's one of the guys in town that they're just musical everything over there.
Right, and so I've been working a lot with Tim and his stuff. And if you've watched the show before, you notice I kind of spend a little bit more time around his establishment
Yep.
and
You
saying.
get some great talent over there.
But I want to do that with everybody, and Tim knows it too.
Yes.
I want to bring some more of those bar owners in, and I want to bring some more of the club managers in to say, hey,
Well, you know yourself, Mark, there is
Yeah.
so much good talent in this town. The musicians and the singers are exceptional.
yes, you being
And,
one of them.
Well,
You
I
being one of them.
appreciate that.
And
But the venue's open for everybody. I mean, I wish we could get a few more venues open.
Correct.
To play more live music.
Yes.
I'm all about the live music thing.
And I agree. And I made a comment on one of the shows. Don't go to the movies. You know, and not that I'm trying to knock new, but it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be on the pay-per-view, and and you're going to spend less to watch that movie when it comes to your own home. Go out and see a live band.
Yeah.
Be part of the live entertainment, and not even just the band, the full bands, the solo artists.
Right.
Been working with Sir Michael Barlos from Fifth Days, and he does theater. Go out and see a live show, a theater
Well, we're
production.
getting to a
the band-
society, especially and I don't like banging on the young generation.
Oh, no.
But to me, they seem like they miss out on the live stuff. Everything's
Yes.
on the screen or whatever.
Yep.
I say, you really need to come out and check out what people are doing. Look at their fingers, man. Those are real human beings.
Right, exactly.
Making this noise that you're listening to and on that thing right there.
Right, exactly.
So,
On your tablet, your
yes.
iPod, your phone, everything's done on a phone nowadays. And so with Streetwize, you guys keep expanding and expanding. I noticed a lot of the shows that I've listed are farther and farther out, as well as the local Toledo area, but now you're starting to expand into
Well, we try to get out
surrounding communities and everything else.
You know, within reason. I mean, we're
Right,
all
well, yeah.
working, guys. We work,
Right.
40 hours a week apiece, if not more. So we got to keep it within reason. Not that I wouldn't mind going and spending a day or two out of town just for a gig, but
Just right.
yeah, until we get freed up, we're not gonna be able to do that.
Well,
But,
you never know.
different. I love playing new venues. You know, see
Oh,
the
yeah.
new faces that have never heard you before, and
Yep.
you know when they start shaking their head like they're into it. That's
And
that's
with a lot of the bands that I've gone to see, you know, and I watch.
Yeah.
Being a musician, I'm watching, and if you can get them tapping
oh yes.
their hands or their feet in their seat, you know you've got their attention.
Yep.
Even though they may be talking with somebody, if you're watching that foot tap,
Oh, I believe you. When I'm up there,
they're
singing,
hearing you.
I scan that audience for
Right.
the guy that's shaking his head because I know we're getting to him.
right?
Or
Exactly,
her, you know, so.
exactly. And I think that's for me. If it's even two people out of a crowd,
Yep.
that's two people that we've touched in some way. And with the music you guys play, and I really love it. Working with you in the past, it's another band that's variety.
Yes.
You guys haven't stuck with one genre or one year.
When we
or
when we
with
started
this,
the
you
band
know,
originally, I told the guys, I said I would really like to base this band on like you're just driving down the road. At least this is the way I do. Because
Mhm.
wife says I'm just don't pay enough attention, or I have an attention span that's not very big. But
Okay.
you know, I drive down the road. I'm constantly clicking buttons on the radio.
You're
just
scanning.
listen for.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what genre music it is. If it feels good, I'm going to listen to it.
Mhm.
And that's what I kind of asked the band. I said, well, I'd like to just not stick with one era or anything. I said, anything that sounds good, or if we're at a playing out somewhere, if somebody makes suggestions, make mental notes of these suggestions. And man, I can't tell you the songs that we have learned because people have suggested that song.
Right.
So, you know, that's what I like to do.
Now, when you guys pull new songs in, what do you look for personally as a group in a song that you know you're going to be able to perform and make an impact? What are some of the key elements for you guys?
For me, more
Is
than
it-
anything, it's, well, you know, I'm like you. I listen to music and I look and I watch people
Right.
when we go out, whether it's karaoke,
Yep.
band, whether it's anything. You look at a crowd's reaction to certain songs. And if you get a majority reaction of everybody's really into it, so yeah, I'm going to learn that song because I know
Mhm.
everybody's into it. I like to do a couple of obscure songs just to
You've
just
got
to
to.
freak people out a little
Right.
bit. But for the most part, I do like playing stuff that I think people in the majority love. And there's certain songs, you know,
Oh, yeah.
you know the Brown Eyed Girl song,
Every-
you
yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
the Devil song himself.
Yep.
But more people dance to that song than almost anything we do.
Right.
And that's amazing to me, so we will play it forever.
And see, now with the current group I'm with, what we try to find is the songs that got a little airtime, but not a lot.
Mhm.
But people go, hey, I remember that.
Yeah.
And it brings back those memories. We're looking for those, maybe not the B-sides, but the
Right.
lesser known, even some of the one-hit wonders
Yeah.
and things
Oh,
like that.
definitely.
And when we try to find content, we try to actually find something that means something to somebody out there, or even in the band.
There's a lot of
It's-
great songs that
and-
that click with people.
we can't keep up. At our board, we just added, I think, 12 no more
Right.
to learn for this next show we got coming up. And that's why I was kind of curious how you guys sat down and said, all right, this is one that we want to do. Now,
Well, when we have a practice, you know, we'll be an open discussion. Like, anybody think there's something that we can do? Something that I can sing, first of all, because
There's
I
always
do the
your
majority of the
limitations,
singing
right.
in Streetwise. So it's got to be something that I can do. You know, I'm not a guy that can do Journey. You know,
that makes a bunch
I wish
of
I
us.
could, but,
Right.
so we got to, you know, we try to do what we can with what we have.
Now, I do have to ask this. I know I've done it personally. Have you ever been booked for a new place, and then gone there, say a week before, sat down and maybe listened to what's playing on the jukebox? Maybe going like A
No, I've
Wednesday
never
or
done that,
Thursday.
but that's a great idea.
I
I have went to other venues
Yeah.
before we went there just to get familiar with the surroundings.
Right.
But I never really thought about
See,
that. That's
I've-
a great
I've,
idea.
I've personally gone in, and what I do is I sit down and I'll sit off to the side, not being stuck up, just out of everybody's way, and I'll listen to what's playing on the jukebox. What am I hearing? What genres, what styles, and stuff like that, and then I write all that down, and then I bring it back and I present it to the band and say, what out of this can we incorporate
Yeah.
for that place?
That's
Because
a
a lot
great
of the
idea.
times your people during the week are also your weekenders that are there with your other crowd.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure if you may have done something like that to kind of pull in new ideas.
No, but I
and-
might now. I might steal your idea.
Go for it. And it's no trade secret. It's just something I personally
Yeah.
did over the years, and I found it really works.
Yeah.
Because then you'll find one or two songs that you can connect. Once you've connected with those two songs, now you've got their undivided attention,
Yes.
because they don't know what you're going to do next. They don't know what you're going to pull out of that bag of
I
tricks.
like doing you come in as a classic rock band, but then somebody will say, "Oh, you guys do any country?"
Exactly.
And I say, "Well, by the way, yes, we do." And then we'll do a few of country songs, and it just makes everybody happy.
Yeah. So now that we've got, now you've got yourself, you've got John, you've got Dave,
then
and Mike.
Yep.
How do they all fall into the pictures? How
Well, me and John came together originally just through the garage thing.
right?
And,
And you had a different drummer at
and
that time.
it was
and
a whole.
different-
Well, nobody had really planned on anything being serious back in
Okay.
the day. But when we noticed that it started happening a little bit, we got a little more serious players. And the drummer had quit. Might have been work reasons or something, but. So I started looking for drummers.
Right.
Didn't really know how to go about it. Well, I was over at Peeler Music at the time. They're not available now. But
yeah, I
used to
remember
work.
them. Yeah.
But I actually found our drummer's phone number on the pegboard.
board,
back
the
there.
pegboard,
People
yeah.
looking for musicians,
right.
and then Dave's been with me, 10 years now.
Oh wow.
And then Mike came along probably about 3 or 4 years ago, the bass player, because our original bass player, James, who was a great bass player, got a job out of town, and he had to move.
Yeah.
So I think he's up in Columbus now, but he hung with us till we found somebody.
Right.
And I found Mike, actually on, was it Musicians Friends or whatever the local one is?
The local talent
Yes.
website,
And,
which I'll get a link to that too, and we can post that, and then
Yeah,
people
and
can see what we're talking about.
Talked to him on the phone, and then he actually had come out to see one of our gigs. We were actually using a fill-in bass player then, and he liked what he heard, and he called me up and said, "Yeah, I'm definitely
That's nice,
interested."
and that's always helpful when someone says, "Oh yeah, I do want to
Yeah.
be a part of
So,
that."
and Mike, you've seen him play. He's a phenomenal bass player.
He makes me cry. He plays so well.
He's got answers and dance, man. He can't just sit around and do
Right.
nothing. He's up there dancing. And
That he is, and that's what I really admire about him. His stage presence
Yep.
is fitting with his playing, and he just goes out there and he does what he loves. And I know he's got a bunch of solo projects that he records and things like
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. He's a phenomenal songwriter.
And
I personally think he's this close to
me.
getting something big.
something to
He's
break
already
through.
had some known artists sing some of his music. He's had some real professional musicians down south lay down tracks for him and help him do this stuff. And they've actually contracted a couple professional singers that I'm telling you, I hope it works for him because he's so close.
Now, what about bringing some of his material into your guys' band?
We do one of his songs that
Okay.
it goes over big. The first time we did it, everybody's clapping. They didn't realize that was a song that Mike
Which
had
is
written
really
that we
cool
put
then.
together. So I
Yeah.
said, well, look, man, that's the crowd's enjoying this. This would
Keep
go
it.
over.
Yeah.
But the music business, I don't delve into it much, but it's hard to get in out there.
It is.
Especially what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
But I think once it happens for him, I think the doors are going to open huge. He's got some great songs.
And I know he posts on Facebook and stuff,
Yeah.
and I always make sure I listen, and I got to get with him and get permission to be able to put him. I want to put him on
Yeah.
my pages and my websites and stuff like that. And again, get that music out there,
Yep.
and you never know who's going to hear it, and someone's going to, oh wow.
Well, John writes
I want
songs.
this.
I'm a guitar player.
Yeah.
We've messed with some of them in the practice room and stuff. One of those might come out in the future.
Oh, I'd like to hear it.
You know,
I would, because I've not heard any of John's original stuff,
Yeah.
so that'd be kind of cool.
John's an old school
So what
rock and roll
about
guy.
what about you? Do you?
I've
When
written
you-
I've written a few songs. I do not consider myself a songwriter, but I've messed with some stuff and I've asked the other guys, well, what do you think of this? And they go, well, that's got a lot of potential. But time is my big thing. Trying to keep a creative thing going in your head, and then working, and then you're
Yep.
practicing with the band. I mean, life takes over sometimes.
That it does. That it does. Okay, so we've got Streetwise. Now, you have another project that you've gotten into recently.
Yes, I got asked to do an audition with these guys, and I was going into it thinking I don't think I can do this. Or I'm not going to have enough time to do this.
Right.
And it's the group called Heyday. They happen to be looking for a singer, and I know Rick Spittler. He's with the Haywire Band and several other projects that he does. And he had called me up and asked me if I'd be interested, and I told him, I said, well, I'll give it a shot, but I don't know if we can do this. I said, but anytime somebody wants to get together and jam, I'm fun. And
Game
it's
on.
fun, I'm there.
Yep, game on.
So I showed up for practice up there one night, and it's a whole different dynamic than what I'm used to. It's pretty much a '60s era
Okay.
band. Everything's that era, that genre. Even though we're hoping to click up into the '70s here a little bit. But the first night I had sat in, and well, originally I didn't have to play guitar or nothing. We just needed a singer. So I had went over there, and their harmonies absolutely blew me away. And I said, well, wow, maybe there is something to this.
Right.
And so evidently they were all happy with it, because he calls me the next day, and he goes, we kind of want you in the band.
Right.
And I said, really? I said, how are we going to do this logistically?
Right.
Between my schedule, because we've been playing out quite a bit, and I know he's the Haywire Band and his other projects, and the other guys in the band, they all got projects. I said, how are you going to do this? I said,
Right.
Logistically, it's a nightmare. And he just told me, give me all the shows that you have, and and we'll mix it in there. Well, I've been with him now for I don't know how many months now. It hadn't been that far, and I think I'm doing like the 5th or 6th show with him right now.
Right.
He's filling things in that are working. The guy could sell ice to an Eskimo. I don't know. He's just got the gift of skills for selling shows,
Right.
and so much so that we've got 2 gigs coming up at the Hollywood Casino.
That's a big deal.
And one of them's in October and November, and we're, as a '60s group, are going to be opening for, I don't know the name of the bands off the top. All I was told was they were national acts that travel, and that's what they do for work.
Okay.
And we're going to open the show on those nights for those guys.
Okay.
So our show is going to be like an hour and 15 or hour and a half or something, warm up the crowd, and then the big dogs will come out and do their show.
Right. Now, are you guys going to sit down as a group and write your playlist based on the type of music and the
Yes.
the
Jerry in
impact?
the band usually writes up our set list. And I'm hoping that he gets the set list done quick, because I'd really like to start working on everything.
Right.
That would be a priority for me.
That way
I
you
don't
can-
know if he has access to what these other guys play. But I don't really think it matters, just as we're an opening act, I think.
Right. Because I know, like, writing playlists, myself and our drummer do it most of the time. We look for that ebb and tide. In other words, we take it up, we bring it down a little bit. We
Yeah.
take it up and bring it. Now, do you guys follow a similar format and
Not
kind of
so
build it
much.
up and then
the
keep
good
it
thing
and then-
about the Heyday Band is I'm not the priority singer.
Okay.
And that's the one thing that attracted me too. Everybody in the band sings, and they're all good singers. But man, when they come together as the harmony, man, that's really what sells this band. And they're all musicians, been around for
Right.
a long time. They got good skills. But if you ever do get to hear the show live, the harmonies are pretty darn tight.
Well, you guys are going to have to stop scheduling when I'm working.
Yes.
That's it. 'Cause my plan is to actually come out and videotape a few of the songs and
Yeah.
be able, and I want to do that with some of the other bands that I've had on here and artists, obviously with their permission, because I have to get permission
Yes,
through.
I had actually talked to Rick last night or the night before at our show that we'd played with him. Told him that I was going to be doing this podcast. He wanted to come today.
Oh, that would have been cool.
But he had
yeah.
some family things that he had
Right.
to take care of. But
Well, we can always reschedule.
Right,
We're going to be doing
But
this.
I told him, I
hopefully
said,
a
I'll
very
get in
long
there,
time.
and he was really concerned. Well, mention the the casino dates and stuff.
Absolutely.
And we'll go
Absolutely.
from there. So
Absolutely,
So
and
we-
then, like I said, I just bought purchased some new video camcorders that I want to utilize for recording your guys' live, everybody's live show.
Yep.
You know, when I can get out, get off my lazy butt, actually, I should say, and not spend so much time in my own band room. And
Well, you got your priorities you have to take care of too.
and my little ones are growing up quickly,
Yes.
and it's like I really can't afford to miss this. And I thank you for doing the later show. And I'd mentioned before, the reason being is our youngest, Callie, is a cheerleader.
Yes.
And her games are Sundays, and they're usually about 11 o'clock. So we pushed the show back
Family
so
comes
I could
first, man.
so
That's
I
the way
could
it's
go
always gotta be.
and support her, and then we can come in, and then talking with you and some of the other artists, it's like, well, maybe the later show's better if you play Saturday night.
Yep.
Gives you a chance to sleep in an hour or two
Yep.
that you may not get. Get up, get your coffee, get yourself together, and then you can come in and be bored with me. And
A little hoarse today from singing 2 nights in a
Oh, that-
row, but it's.
we had
I
practice
wouldn't miss it.
yesterday for we played 7 hours straight,
Yeah.
almost, with just new material, and we added a keyboard player, so now we're getting that young man up to speed. And,
Yeah, we're
and
having a
things.
practice tomorrow night. We got a busy schedule this week.
Yeah.
We're playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we're doing this benefit Sunday. So
Yeah.
it's-
Speaking of which, I was going to bring that up on. There's a benefit coming up on September 15th at Sneaky Pete's, and it's for Beth Urton. Is
Yes.
it? And she is a cancer patient.
Yes,
and
she's-
going through.
And what makes it more special is she's a personal friend of ours.
Yeah.
We've known her basically since she was a kid, and she got dealt a bad hand with this. It's oral cancer. I can't pronounce the name of what it is.
Don't try.
But
I
she has
wouldn't either.
been she has been through hell and back with what's going on. So we're just trying to help out.
Now, with the spaghetti dinner and stuff like that, it's $10 donation
Yes.
per se
Yeah.
for the plate. And now, you're going to be doing other things such as raffles and
There's
stuff
going to be
like that?
50-50s, silent auction, that kind of stuff. They've already got a lot of pretty nice gifts for the silent auction stuff. And we're going to be playing, I'm thinking 3 to something.
Okay.
We'll be there for whatever it takes. And I mean,
Right.
if we get some other musicians that show up, everybody's more than welcome to sit in with us. And
Maybe
just
I
make a
can,
nice, fun day out of it.
Yep, I've got my podcast again at 3, and then maybe I'll collect the guys and we'll come over and,
Yeah.
and help support you. We'll get Tracy over there maybe to take some photos that we
Yeah,
can post.
yeah.
And
Well, we're
and stuff
hoping
like
to,
that.
get a good turnout. I'm calling on like some of our musician friends,
Yep.
some of my biker friends. I'm hoping
Oh,
we can
yeah.
just pack to join up, make some money for Beth. And,
Yeah, absolutely. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get. I've got a flyer that I'll put up. I'm going to scan and be able to put it in. So when I talk about it tomorrow
Yeah.
and the rest of the week for the podcast.
And we do appreciate that.
Oh, not about. That's why we're here. This is a form of entertainment, and it's entertainment with purpose.
Right.
That's what makes it special to me. It's entertainment with purpose. Our general entertainment is for fun.
Oh, yes.
We're out there, you, myself, and all the guys and gals we know. We're doing it because we enjoy it. Well, when it comes to something like this, for me, it's entertainment with a purpose.
Yep.
It's got real meaning behind it.
Yep.
So,
And musicians understand that. They go, even when you have an off weekend, it's like, man, I
Yep.
should be playing somewhere tonight.
Yep, exactly,
You know?
exactly. And so I'll get this scanned in, and for the next show, I'll be able to put it up, talk about it, and we'll get that pushed out there. And that's coming up this Sunday, September 15th, and it's starting at 2:00. So
I
according
believe,
to
yeah,
this, 2 to 9, according
my
to
wife
this,
and all the other friends and the family, whatever, yeah, get there fairly early, get the spaghetti cooking and whatever
Right.
they take, and we'll get there around noon, set the band stuff up.
right.
And we're hoping the weather's going to be good, and we just get a good turnout.
Well, you did see it's going to be in the 90s through the middle of the week there.
Yeah. Well, hope they got air conditioning.
They're usually pretty good. I've played there for many years myself.
Oh,
and
that's good.
different-
Yeah, we got a show coming up with them here directly. Anyway.
And like I said, I'm going to try to start making some more shows and do some more videotaping, and again, get you guys
Yep.
notice. And what I like about our podcast is it's not just local. This is worldwide.
Yeah.
I have folks in Canada that have chimed in. I have folks in the UK that have chimed in, and
Yeah. Any of our fans from Alaska, California, come
there
on
you go.
out.
Yeah.
And I'll buy you a drink.
There you go. Now that's an idea. So other things that we like to touch on is what keeps you going. What because every one of us, and I don't care who you are, how long you've been in it, have gotten to a point where I'm done. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth
You know,
The crap. What has pushed you through
that goes on.
those
you
moments?
can say that of almost about everything in life. You know, you just can't give up. And most musicians that I know, no matter how down they get, you know, they'll throw their equipment, they'll yell and cuss.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, the next half hour later, well, I'm picking up my equipment, and, you know, you strum your guitar, and it's like, you know, I couldn't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, musicians all understand the burn inside. You know.
Yes.
You know, and it's not a show off thing. It's just, I always tell people it's just something that I do. It's just something that I feel like I just have to do. Hey, don't tell the bar owners, but I do it for free. You know?
I think actually some of them probably already know that,
Yeah.
but
But the internal thing of it, and you know, unless you're a musician, I guess you don't. But you know, you say that for other things. You know, people that play sports, they've got that same desire
Yes.
for that kind of a thing too.
Right.
So it's all what you're into in life is how you feel about it. But musicians are pretty darn strong about that feeling.
I know I've taken personally a hiatus here and there because I got burned out with the company doing DJ work for a while there. I worked every Friday, Saturday,
It can catch up
Thursday,
to you
Friday,
sometimes.
Saturday, and
Yes.
for a while there, I took a break from the band and focused just on the
Well, I've
DJ
had the
work.
nights where it's like, no, I get off work and it's like,
Yeah.
man, I gotta get the trailer loaded, gotta get
Right.
out here. And but once you strum the first chord, it's like,
It's all
yeah,
worth it.
This is right.
Yep.
This is right.
And then just recently, I've done the opposite. I've done very few DJ shows and been focusing more on the music aspect and like with the podcast. And I'm hoping next time we can get you and some of the other guys with either band, and
Yep.
we'll
That'd be
get
something.
we'll do some acoustic work.
That'd be all right.
I don't know if you walked in, if you noticed, right around behind you
Yeah.
are microphones that I've gotten just for that,
Yeah.
just to get you guys. And we did it on a whim with IMO.
Yep.
And
Oh, them guys are great.
I was extremely happy with the way how all of that came
Well,
out.
I
And
listened to that.
that
It
and-
sounded phenomenal.
Well, we're gonna do better.
So-
We're gonna, we're gonna do better. But maybe get you guys back again, either with Streetwize, and with Heyday, and let's give the people a little taste of what they can come out and hear a full show of.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things we need to strive for the podcast and
Yeah.
stuff. And I want to tell everybody right now, Mr. Steve Long here and his wife both have been tremendous supporters. In fact, thanks to Steve, we now have business cards. And we were at one of his functions, and he
Well,
mentioned
you gotta make
it.
the world know who you are, man.
And I wasn't going to do it. We have flyers and stuff, but he's like, hey, what about business cards? So we now have business cards.
I just think it's a good idea, and I don't know if all bands will do it, but I'm going to do it for our shows, as well as trying to book another gig.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to hand them, not only one of my band cards, one of your cards, and explain to them the good things that can come from this, the
Right.
advertising alone for, and especially the fact that they could come and talk with you also. Promote their
Exactly.
show, promote their bar,
Their
or
venue,
restaurant, or
yes.
whatever they have.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could open some doors up. And
I got to get it out again. Tracy had made a flyer, and basically the last line that sums everything up, and she put it nice and blunt. It's free advertisement.
Yes.
We are not asking for anything.
No.
That this is all done by us
That's what I'm
for
thinking. If
everybody.
we can get the word out about this,
Yeah.
is it's a great venue. I mean, God, even other musicians just meeting other musicians
Yes.
through the thing.
Yeah.
So everybody has a little bit of a personal contact with
And that's
people.
just it. I think I'm hoping, like we talked about with the club owners and the managers and the people that actually book the groups, once you meet them, even if it may not be face to face, but you can see them on video, you can see how they are,
Right.
who they are. You have a more open. It's like, you know what? Maybe I should talk to these people next time they stop in, and maybe I should give a little bit more attention to what it is they're trying to do. I've got a group coming up in a couple of weeks that do write their own stuff, and they're parodies.
Oh,
Everything they do is a parody.
Yeah.
And they've been having a heck of a time getting out there. Well,
There's a niche for that somewhere.
there is.
I
and-
like that idea. I don't know
You
if
know-
you're old enough to remember the old Hot Licks band.
Yes, I do. Right,
Them
right,
guys cut their
right
teeth
down there on
doing that
Alexis
stuff.
Road.
Yes.
And,
And,
I remember them guys. I've been to a couple of shows I wasn't supposed to be in
Yeah.
there, but we won't go in it yet. But yeah, and that's the thing. They're a parody band, and they write their parodies.
That's
so
great.
from what I'm understanding, we'll have them on the show in a couple of weeks, and hopefully we can open some doors and get people to say, hey, that'd be fun
Yes.
to go listen to. It's going to be something, you're going to know the music, but the lyrics are going to be something completely
Yep.
unique. And that's what we're going to do with that. Anything else you'd like to touch base with? Yeah, and I'm always asking my guests if there's something they want to kind of bring up, something they know of, and that's what this is about, kind of getting your information out there.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great venue, what you're trying to do. I've never heard of any of this being done in Toledo at all. Never even thought about it. Of course, you know me, I'm technically challenged.
That's what you keep telling me anyhow.
But I think this is a great way
Well,
to
thank you.
extend who we are, who you are. And I just think the opportunities are endless for something like this.
And I'm hoping. Some of our weekly views have gone down a little bit, but I have noticed our live podcast, the interviews, are doing really well. We're getting a lot of view time, and people are actually watching an hour show, the whole hour. I have through the program, I can actually look up and see the average number of people, how long they watched it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm at 92% view time per video per watcher.
That's pretty good.
So they may just be cutting out the beginning or maybe a little bit at the end, and that's what I'm hoping, like with the interview with you and everyone else and the upcoming ones, they're watching them.
Yep.
And then I do thank you. Well, obviously not you, but your wife and others. Aaron is another huge supporter. Aaron and Steve from IMO.
Them guys.
Everybody, all of you guys, I can't thank you enough for posting and reposting and sharing and saying, hey.
Well, everybody believes in what you're doing.
And
I believe. I mean, this is I think it's a great thing.
It's
that can
not
lead to bigger things.
But the thing is, it's not entirely new, because if you remember, Jeff Lamb had the Man Cave.
Right, I remember.
Where he had live bands coming in and play, which I'm getting to that point. It takes a little bit more equipment than I currently have, and I'm working up to that. But what he didn't include was the full interview, the one-on-one with the guest, and that's where I want to start. And then we'll do a little talking, maybe play a little music, do a little bit talking, almost like a variety entertainment show, and getting you guys out there, and that's what I'm hoping to do. And again, thank you for all the great, kind words. Every time I see you, you kind of pat me on the back and almost knock me over, because you guys might not be able to tell. Steve is actually a much stockier guy than I am, and he's got some strength behind him when he's in a good mood. Trust me. Anything else? I mean,
I just appreciate you having us on there. And,
God, I'm hoping you guys will come back. And with some more
we'll
members,
some
either
guys
from
together.
Streetwize
We'll do something.
and then the Heyday Band. So we've got coming up for you
We'll
guys.
turn this into a venue. We're going to start charging cover at your door just to get in here.
Nah, it sounds good, but you know what? Then it becomes a job.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't do this because of a job. I do this because of the love of what I do, and I know what everyone's gone through, and I know what the new bands are going through.
Yeah, it's just everybody knows the struggle.
And I'm trying to.
And that's why I'm more than happy to help other people do whatever, because it's tough in the very beginning.
Very.
And but once you get there and get a little bit of local success or whatever you can get for success,
right?
It feels good.
The hardest ones that I found over the years is getting into the fairs and festivals, which I
very
love
tough. Yes.
the most.
Trying to get to the right people is.
Yeah. And hopefully this is another avenue. Somebody will say, hey, I saw this podcast with this group. Check it out, because all the videos are on YouTube. They stay there, and you just scroll through and you find the one you want.
And for the up and coming bands, or even the ones that have been around a while that feel they're not getting anywhere.
Right.
Be persistent.
Yes.
I've had a couple shows where it took us 5 years to get in.
It's a long time.
I mean, I can't tell you how many CDs I dropped off, but when the guy finally called us, and I called him on it too. I said, "Did you look in your office?" I said, "I got CDs in there." No, but he goes. But once he heard us, he goes, "You guys are here."
Right.
He goes, and we've been with that venue now for almost 6 years.
Yeah, and the payoff was worth all the time you
outside
spent.
gig every year.
Yep.
And he's known for having great talent out at and so
So
you just got to be persistent.
Your words of advice for the new guys and gals coming up:
be persistent.
Don't stop. Keep politely pushing. Keep politely pushing.
If you have trouble talking nicely to to management of any kind, have your wife or your girlfriend do it.
Yeah. Well, unless you have some wives and girlfriends that are just as stubborn as you are, then you might have a problem with that.
My wife told me that I was not allowed to book bands no more. She took over because I didn't have the sweet personality. And I didn't have her good looks either. So
Well,
helps.
that's always a plus there. Yeah. So we've got you guys are playing on Friday the 13th, Heyday, at Wolverine Park in Dundee.
Yes, that's going to be something different for me personally. But it's a short show too. I think it's based sort of like they do in the Toledo Metro Parks. They have the amphitheater where the bands play. I think this is something similar
to that.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to show up there.
Yeah, it's showing
do
only
a couple sets.
Yeah, it's showing 6 to 8 Friday, September
Hopefully
Friday
the weather
the
will be good.
13th. Well, there's the thing. Friday the 13th.
Well.
Hopefully none of you guys are superstitious in the
I was
band.
born a ghoul. So
You
it
were
doesn't
born a
matter.
ghoul, so it doesn't matter. So again, with Heyday, ladies and gentlemen, Friday the 13th at Wolverine Park in Dundee, Michigan. You go see Steve there at that. Then, the very next day, or the day before,
Yeah.
is it September 12th? Well, that would be a Thursday then.
Yes, that's going to be our final show for the year out at the
Roadhouse?
Todd's Roadhouse out there.
Okay.
Out on Central Avenue, Central and Rab. It's a great venue out there. The only bad thing about it, if it rains, they'll cancel it because there's not enough room inside to do a show.
So this is strictly outdoor.
It's an outdoor show,
Okay.
kind of a bike night kind of a thing. So I mean, you'll get every kind of person out there, and it's always great out there, no matter who shows up.
See, this is the kind of thing is why I don't unfortunately get to see you.
Yeah.
I work third shift.
Yeah.
I'll be at work Thursday, unfortunately. But I know where Dundee, Michigan is. Who knows? Maybe I can convince the wife to maybe come out there and try the new cameras out and videotape some of the things. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Thursday, September 12th at the Roadhouse, from 6:30 to 10:30, we have Streetwize. And again, that band's a more generalization of music. It's a wider spectrum.
Little classic rock,
And
little,
then,
little country, little blues.
Yep, and Heyday is more of your
It's more of a '60s era.
60s era feel.
It's we're getting them to creep into some other things. We actually thrown a couple little country things in there.
Yeah, but there was some
That's
great
all right.
country music in the
Yeah.
50s and 60s, and early 70s. And are you guys going to maybe touch on some of the Motown classics from the 60s? I mean, there were so many great acts out of Detroit, out of that made an impact
We are
with funk
definitely-
and, you know.
Yeah, we're definitely there. We're doing a couple. I'm singing some songs, Mark. I never thought you would see me singing.
I have
in
got
that
to
kind of
definitely
era.
show up. What about?
You know, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. You ever think you'd see the day where I'm singing
No,
that?
that would be-
I'm doing that song,
Really?
and I'm pretty much enjoying it.
So you're finding new areas that you didn't
Oh,
realize
yes.
that you would actually
And,
be able to
and they've got me
grip
playing
and-
more guitar in that than I normally do.
Excuse me.
And so I don't consider myself a guitar player, but these guys are making me a better guitar player just for
Just
what we're doing
for
in
what
that
you're
era
doing.
of music.
Now, what about you've got funk
A little bit of that.
peaked in the 60s into the 70s, and then coming out of the late 60s and the early 70s, you had your disco era.
I don't know,
Earth,
you
Wind,
have
and
to talk me into
Fire, bands like that,
Yeah.
which are a lot of
But
your
we'll do
upbeat,
whatever makes
danceable
people
stuff.
happy.
The
we've
thing
got
that
a-
would impress me is you doing a disco song and showing up in bell bottoms.
Hey, I remember the bell bottoms.
You remember? I missed that part.
Remember the cuffed bell bottoms?
Yeah,
Even
those
as tall
are-
as I am, used to wear those platform shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that made you
Youngsters
what,
don't know about
7'1"?
that
That made you what, 7'1" or something like that with the platform shoes. But it's good to hear that you guys are embracing the fact that the more you're playing out, and the more you're seeing this, the variety that you can bring in.
People in general, and I don't want to put down any genre of music because all music is great, but when you mix it up, the variety throughout the night, to me, it keeps people's attention a little bit more.
Well, because you're going to have some groups that are going to really like this,
Yeah.
but they're not into that. And then the other groups will like this, but not that. And
Well, we'll
so-
have people come up and go, "Can you do this?" And I say, "Well, you just hold on a minute because
Right, it's
we're
coming.
going to roll right into that here very
Right.
shortly." And,
Do you step your, especially with a group like that, do you step your music as far as like through the era, say group things, okay, these songs came out in around 62 or 63, and maybe do a block of those, and then maybe go like the 65,
we have done a couple things like
66.
that. He tends to like. I don't make the set list for Heyday.
Right.
Jerry does, and he does a great job. But I could tell that we have done that before. and then he'll mix it up with whatever.
And kind of fill in the gaps in with the rest of it.
Me with the Streetwize band, the band gets on me sometimes because I got just a giant set list, and I don't write what we're going to do every night.
You pick and choose as you go.
Choose
Yeah.
which John, guitar pedal John.
Guitar pedal
You know,
John.
he needs prep time for songs.
Well, he's also another one that I know that switches between, what, 4 different guitars usually? 3 or 4? He's got the acoustic.
He
And
carries
he's got
four with
four.
him now,
I
yeah.
thought that he had 4 because I know
Yeah.
he has the acoustic and at least 2 electric
Yeah, and
that he likes
pedal
to,
board
and then
is
his pedal board that's as
just
big as my
gigantic,
trailer.
so.
You know.
I don't even ask about it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what that button does. So,
And John usually runs your sound and stuff for you.
John
and,
is we don't have a sound guy, and
Right.
John has got an ear that's unbelievable. Even Mike too.
Yes.
It's amazing what he can pull out with just listening.
And that's honestly when I started working with you guys and started showing up, and I would mention something to John, and he actually said, "Hey, wow, yeah."
Yeah, he's
He-
always open to
And
interpretation. Yes.
and him and I had gotten along from the technical standpoint, because I'll walk out there and I listen. I know what you should sound like. And if I'm not hearing it, I'll say, "John, you need to boost the mid a
I'll
little or
have
drop."
customers come up to me and say, "Hey man, if
Yeah.
you do this mid-range," I said, "I don't even know what mid-range is."
You know,
I said, "You need to talk to John."
Right.
And work
Well,
with him.
for me, one of the aspects of what I do as a business is I run sound for other bands. I've
Yeah.
been doing it for Fifth Ace and a
Well, you
bunch
got
of
a great
others.
ear too. You've been doing it long enough. You can hear things.
It was forced originally. Some of the earlier bands I played in, I was the guy.
Right.
So I took it upon myself to learn everything I could, and just I know what I like to hear, and then I try to step outside that and say, okay, what does everybody else want to hear? I'm a bass player.
Yep.
Give me all low end. Well, it don't work that way for the whole band, And then as I became a singer, more and more in the different bands, now I'm hearing things a little different early on in the
Well,
career.
and you know more about this than I do. The technology, and believe me, I'll never get up with technology, but like the whole virtual sound system, dealing with
Yes.
the sound and everything. The first time we had ran into it, and we were old school guys, but when we had Troy Romer that was sitting in with us for a little while, he brought PA and he had the whole virtual thing. And
Right.
It was amazing to me.
Yep.
He
Yep.
goes, "Listen, man, I can put this on your cell phone. You can do your own thing with your amp and everything." And I'm going, "Really?"
Yes.
So that might be something for us in the future if we can just get out of our old school way of thinking.
Well, I like analog. If you look, the board we're running for our show, what is it? It's analog. The
But
board.
I've seen a lot of bands using that now.
Yeah. Not to name drop, but the main ones are Behringer is one of the biggest ones. The Air 16, Air 18, and the X32 systems, which is what I'm looking into for our group. And then I can take my iPad or my cell phone, and I can make adjustments out in the crowd.
Yeah.
While they're up on stage. And that's the advantage to having that technology. Is before you would have to adjust it, walk out there, come back up, make the adjustment, walk back out there, while the rest of the band was trying to do what,
And even after the years of doing this, Jody, my wife, she's come up with a pretty geared ear, saying we need to get the vocals up, we need to get
Right,
our
the
down a
mix.
little bit, and get it in there, and so that helps. But the whole virtual thing, I think that's really going to be something here.
It really is. And right now it's a little pricey on some of it,
Yes.
but I will say Behringer being one of them, and there's a few other manufacturers, they're slowly bringing those prices down
Yeah.
as the more popular it gets. It's like
It's amazing. Gosh, remember the days when you bought a Chinese guitar and it just, it got out of tune just after you tuned it.
Right.
But some of the quality of that stuff's come
It's
up a
come
long
up.
way. You can buy yourself a decent guitar for a little money that's actually show worthy.
Yeah, I know my personal favorite brand is Ibanez,
Yeah.
which is an import. They do make some of the higher end ones here in the U.S. Everything's Luthered
Yeah.
by hand. The ones I get are more the imports, but everyone is, you're right. You can buy quality without
Reasonable.
the high
Yep.
cost. And not that I still wouldn't mind a classic Rickenbacker.
Don't get me started.
Don't-
If I only had 20,000,
Right.
just laying around.
Well, Steve, I think I've pretty much covered everything I'd like to get to, and you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
okay, well, I want to thank you for stopping in, and hopefully you'll be coming back soon
Yeah,
with,
I
with the rest of the
appreciate the
band at some point, or a couple of guys, and
Yep.
maybe bring some acoustics, and we can do a couple of
Yeah.
live songs. And everybody that's out there, and I do want to thank you all for stopping in. Oh, Miss Erin John stopped in. We
Aaron.
love Stephen.
How you doing, Aaron?
There she is. Miss Erin, again, like I said, another huge supporter. It's actually the one that got me in touch with.
Aaron is, in my personal opinion, one of the best voices in Toledo.
She has got
I have
a
told
ton
her
of,
that.
yes, she has got a phenomenal, and then I'm constantly telling Steve how much of a better bass player he is than I am, and him and I argue. And I think I got the upper hand, and he's right. He's the better one, you know. I'm right.
Both of you guys are pretty darn good.
But again, Steve, I want to thank you very much for stopping in. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our show for today. And I appreciate all of you stopping in and listening. And remember, go to the YouTube page, smash that like button. And then if you're not a subscriber, please hit subscribe and share it. Share it to the people that you know. Share it so we can get it out there to these venue owners and these people like that. Steve now has his business cards.
Make sure you give those to the rest of the groups you talk to.
Yep, and I gave Erin a bunch of them, and one of her friends who run a couple of different pages and stuff like that. So we're going to get it out there per you know, and I appreciate everybody's support. So that's going to be our show for today, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you for stopping in, and be on the lookout for the next episode. We'll be doing a update on Monday, probably Tuesday, and most likely Thursday. I'm getting more and more stuff in, so we can do more. So again, folks, have yourself a great day. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and keep it real.
Good job, man. Sounded good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Where'd you have these hanging at?
Right at
On there.